Welcome 8th graders. I'm not here today, so I'm going to use this video to explain what you need to do for today's assignment. So there's two things that you're going to need to do in your design notebook. It's the robot research project. We will talk about the design notebook a lot more in detail when I'm back next week. But for today, I'm just going to go over these two things that need to be completed. So task number one in the design notebook is watching a video called Humans Need Not Apply. And then there's a few response questions that go with it. In my opinion, I think it's the most interesting video that's watched in GTT class 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then the second thing that you will need to do is task number two, looking at vocabulary definitions. So for those two things, you are going to go to Schoology. And when you're in Schoology, you'll see in the top right corner where it says due Tuesday, February 22nd, Robot Research Design Notebook. So you click on that. It'll bring you to this design notebook. And again, we will go over this design notebook a lot more in detail next week. But for right now, I'm just going to show you these two tasks that you need to do for your assignment. So task number one, and you can just click on the bookmark there. It will take you straight to where you need to be. Is watching. It says, watch Humans Need Not Apply. The video is linked in your design notebook. And then you're going to respond by answering these questions down below. How do robots already impact your life? What are concerns you have after watching the video? What jobs might you be interested in pursuing someday? And will that job be around in the future? Why or why not? Now notice these next two questions have an orange background. These are should-do questions, just a little bit higher thinking. What are your thoughts on the statement, which is in the video? Self-driving cars don't need to be perfect. They just need to be better than human drivers. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree, disagree, why or why not? And are you concerned about giving up control to robots, meaning that instead of humans doing something, robots then doing it and having to do certain tasks? So is that something that concerns you, why or why not? You will answer these questions after watching the video here. I believe it's 15 minutes long. If you're in my classroom, you can borrow headphones at the front of the room. If you are in the auditorium, you can either use your own headphones or just listen to it with volume a little bit lower. After you do these questions, the next thing you need to do is task number two, right down below there. And for task number two, it's going to be going over vocabulary definitions that we're going to be using throughout this unit. So the definition robot. What is a robot? And this is something a lot of scholars disagree on, what is considered a robot. So you can look up the definition for each of these words. A lot of students Google search it, and then from there look up an image of it and an example and non-example. When you think of non-example, think of an antonym or the opposite of the vocab word. When you do the definition, please don't just copy and paste. Read it, put it in your own words, and then write it down in this box. So you have robot, mechanism, simulate, innovate, sensor. Those are your vocab words for task number two that you do all of these boxes for that. So your job today is to get done with task one and task two. Once you do that, you are done with GTT for today, and we will continue working on this next week.